Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. This is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, and I am Illuminati. As always, live every Thursday. We are a little late today, but that's how life goes, right? Guys, if you all know how much it took for me to be here with you all tonight. Listen, I hope you all appreciate every evening that I'm here to share with you. And if I'm here, Stevie there, Henny there, right? Shout out to my brother Steven in the chat as always. Welcome. This is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, season 7, episode 16, right? And today, happy Carnival, happy Lent, happy Easter to you all. We're cracking a new bottle, right? So, pour yourself a drink. We're going to talk about it, right? But before we get into it, as always, some housekeeping, right? It does not matter what you hear here tonight. I am not a financial advisor. This is not a financial advisory podcast. Nothing that I share here tonight, tomorrow night, the nights that have gone before should be misconstrued as financial advice. The same way we have our yak is the same way we have our crypto conversation, right? It's about the ICE rule, information, conversation, education. I just came from a meeting in my other life, which was a business meeting, which in Trinidad means I started early, right? But today we're going to talk about something that has been on my mind and in multiple conversations I've been having over the last few weeks, right? And I didn't want to talk about it before I went and did some digging, gained some understanding, gained an appreciation for what this really means, right? We're going to talk about quantum computing, right? And how it is likely to impact crypto industry generally, but Bitcoin more specifically. And you know what I've come to learn? You know what I've come to realize? You know what I've come to understand? Is that every single crypto cycle, crypto gets a new villain or an evolution of an old villain, right? Whether it's China bans, whether it's FTX collapse, whether it's regulators attack, there is always a new villain. And this cycle, it feels like the new villain is quantum computing, right? Last week we talked about narratives. And I feel like quantum computing is another narrative designed to spread FUD in the market. It's another narrative designed to displace you and your BTC. So, what does it actually mean? What is actual quantum computing actually mean, right? So traditional computers use bits to do their calculations, zeros and ones for those of you who paid attention in comp sci classes in high school or in university, wherever you had the opportunity. Now, quantum computers uses qubits, right? Which is zeros, ones, or a combination of both at the same time. Now, what does that mean? It means that it allows quantum machines to solve certain problems exponentially faster than a classical computer or a traditional computer. And for that reason, people think that it is going to be the death of Bitcoin. It is going to be the death of BTC. It is going to be the death of crypto, because crypto is built on, of course, cryptographic calculations, right? And we have companies like IBM, Google, Microsoft, who have been investing billions of dollars in developing scalable quantum systems for the past few years, not even few years, for years and years now, right? No, I would have just said Bitcoin relies on a significant system called a significant cryptographic system called SHA-256, and that is used to help mine crypto. But one of the other things that Bitcoin relies on is elliptic curve digital signatures, right? And that is relied on for wallet security. So we're going to talk a little bit about how quantum computing might impact both SHA-256 as well as this ECDSA, right? Or wallet security. Now, first thing, mining. Quantum computers could use Grover's algorithm to speed up hashing, right? Which means that this speed up should translate in faster people being able to mine BTC at faster rates. But Bitcoin, in the way it is built, is meant to have the mining difficulty be adjusted based on the inputs on the system, right? So what it basically means is that if quantum computing becomes more sophisticated, then quantum computing should increase the or enable Bitcoin's network's difficulty, mining difficulty to adjust to meet the demands of this quantum computing, right? So ultimately, I think in the long run, the network will survive. I think the real risk, honestly, is to private keys, right? So using Shor's algorithm to powered by a powerful enough quantum computer can theoretically derive private keys from the use of public keys, right? Which means that your coins that you have in your wallet are no longer as safe as they are now, theoretically, right? Especially for addresses that have not been in use for a while. For example, Satoshi's wallets, they may be able to use quantum computing to determine what the the private keys are for that particular wallet, reverse engineering from the public address. Now, does that mean that we need to panic? I mean, everybody seems to be panicking, right? We see in mainstream media headlines talking about Bitcoin being broken, security is compromised. But the real reality is that we continue to tick on. Since its inception, Bitcoin has continued to do what it has set out to do. Every 10 minutes, a new block being created, right? So I think what we're going to see is honestly the emergence of a significant developer response, right? Remember, you and I, well, I don't know who you are, right? But I am not technical, but the people who have been in this space for the longest time, they are people with the technical know-how who have been building in this space for a very long time. And I think what we're going to see is a migration towards more quantum resistant signatures, soft forks, or even hard fork upgrades to particular networks to be able to stave off the overall threat. And I mean, I think ultimately, before we even get to Bitcoin, I think quantum computing poses a more significant risk to online banking, military encryption, government security, and corporate data protection, right? Which we've been seeing more and more of in terms of corporate data hacks. So I think when it comes down to it, there are far more interesting and more valuable honeypots of data to be accessed by quantum computing than Bitcoin right now. I think we low down on the totem pole with our less than $3 trillion in market cap, and that's the entire crypto market cap. So I think this is not a real problem for us, especially here in 2026. Maybe in 2040, maybe in 2050, this might become a, a real problem for us. But I think when that mass utilization of quantum computing comes into play, I think the network is going to significantly upgrade itself to become even more um, quantum proof, right? I think we're going to see a lot of noise in the market, in other markets before it gets to us here in crypto. I think that we're going to see millions of logical quantum attacks on traditional finance, on traditional data sources, long before we ever have to deal with it in the instance of blockchain. So for me, until I start seeing quantum computing being used to attack banks, to attack data sources like Instagram, Meta, Google, all the Amazon, I think that this is just another narrative that we've seen before that is meant to shake people out of their coins. And like I said, we've seen the narratives and the hype built around things in the positive, from AI, ETFs, regulatory panic, and well, on the good side, the ETFs, the AI, but we've also seen all the narratives on the negative side to further us out of our tokens, like regulatory panic. Um, One very strong narrative right now is that of World War III. And I think this is just another one of those narratives. I think this is just par for the course of the story or the history of crypto and BTC. I think ultimately what we're gonna see is that Bitcoin continues to survive, whether it be exchanges collapsing, nation state bans, civil wars, energy fraud, environmental attacks, and quantum computing. In our very, very short life cycle, we have seen Bitcoin stand up against all these varying narratives and continue to be the decentralized, consensus based system that is the only thing thus far that has been able to level the playing field. So I think ultimately, I think some chains are already experimenting with quantum resistant signatures, lattice based cryptography. And the irony is that quantum could create a new narrative cycle in terms of quantum safe chains. And I think what we're going to see is that become a dominant narrative maybe for the next cycle. We're going to see capital rotate into these opportunities, just like we saw with AI. Um, and I think the long haul is that quantum computing is a real scientific field. It is a long-term technological evolution, and it is a potential upgrade trigger for Bitcoin, for BTC, for crypto, for the various networks. But ultimately, based on the little research that I have done, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's not that big of a concern for me. I'm not telling you what to do, but based on my long-term projections for my holdings in crypto and in blockchain, I think we are gonna outlast this narrative, like just like we've outlasted China FUD, Russia FUD, Ukraine, Russia. um, conflict, Israel Palestine conflict, governments banning crypto and Bitcoin all around the world, um, banks being anti crypto, governments being anti crypto, the adversarial regulatory environment that was the former US government, to a more crypto friendly environment that is the current crypto environment. ETFs be formed. I think we have already withstood blow after blow after blow. Tariff floods, according to boy Stephen, like, and Bitcoin just continues to do what it promised. You know what I mean? A new block every 10 minutes. Nothing fancy, nothing special, just a globally decentralized network available with blocks being mined by millions and billions of computers all over the world every 10 minutes. So for me, until that changes, we've seen hacks of exchanges, hacks of wallets, hacks of all kind of thing. The Bitcoin blockchain, the Bitcoin network has never yet been hacked. So until that changes, I am still all in, because you know why? Adoption is inevitable. Those are the facts as I see it. No, I'm not telling you what to do, right? But those are the facts as I see it. Decentralized, transparent, immutable, every 10 minutes. Same promise, same delivery. So I'm going to continue to bank on that until such time. The trend is your friend until it changes. Yeah? And Bitcoin has continued to deliver on its trend. So, guys, that's my time. Be blessed. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Hit me up on the social. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know what research you want me to do. Until such time, Illuminati, OUT, out. Guys, be blessed. See you all next Thursday.